Hello and welcome. This video is made as a requirement of CS219 Cloud Computing course being offered at the University of South Pacific. In this video, we will be looking at how to develop a simple web-based service on Oracle Cloud. Before I begin, I'd like to thank my assignment partners Mr. Ahad Ali and Ms. Vaibhavi Kapadia for helping me in this assignment. Before we begin, we will need some prerequisites in order to carry out this task. First, we'll need an Oracle Ubuntu instance. Second, we'll need PuTTY to access that instance. Next, we need to download a VNC viewer which will be connected to our Ubuntu instance and then used for the graphical user interface. So the steps we are going to follow is: first, we are going to configure a graphical user interface. Second, we'll install and configure Apache Web Server and PHP. Third, we'll create a simple Hello Cloud web page. Fourth, we'll test the web page using Firefox on our Ubuntu instance. And lastly, we'll open the web page on our local machine web browser. I have already created an instance using PuTTY. The command for that is sudo apt update. Next, we are going to do sudo apt upgrade. Do you want to continue? We will type Y for yes. The upgrade will take a minute or two. Next, we will install the XFCE desktop environment along with some additional utilities by entering the command sudo apt install xfce4 space xfce4-goodies. To continue, we will enter Y. Installation will take few minutes as well. After installation, you will be asked to restart the system and you will hit enter to restart and enter again. Okay, the system has been restarted. Next, we will install a remote desktop software called VNC Server, which will allow us to control a computer from a different location over a network connection. The command to install that is sudo apt install VNC Server. Press Y to continue. Again, we will restart by clicking enter and enter. Now we will start a VNC server session on our Ubuntu instance. You will be required to set a password and verify it. The password that you type is invisible for safety reasons. For view-only password, I will enter no. There we go. Our desktop is now created. To set up our VNC server, we will terminate the current VNC session by the command VNC Server -kill !1. So this will stop our VNC session, and now we will edit our startup file. But before we do that, we will create a backup of our startup file, and the command for that is as shown on my screen. Now we are going to edit our startup file by the command sudo nano and the name of the startup file. Next, I will simply copy and paste my configurations to my startup file, then press Ctrl X to exit, yes to save, and file name to remain the same, so press enter. And now we have successfully edited our startup file. Next, we will have to make this file an executable, so for that we will do a command sudo chmod +x and then our file name. And what this command does, it changes the mode of the file to an executable. And finally, we are going to restart our VNC server, as we killed it before editing our startup file. So for that, we will simply do VNC server space -localhost and press enter. There we go. Our desktop has started again. Now we can continue on our local machine. So before we open our VNC client, we need to make some changes in our party configurations. Under connection and SSH, then tunnel, we will create a tunnel. Source port we will choose is 5901, and the destination will be 127.0.0.1 and :5901. Then we will click add, go back to session and add name as VNC. Then we can finally click open. So now we have our SSH tunnel to port 5901. We can use the VNC client to connect to its VNC server on our Ubuntu instance and view our graphical user interface. Now we can open the VNC viewer and search for localhost :5901 and then click enter. Now it will ask for the password which we set during the installation. We will enter that password and click OK. And now we have access to the graphical user interface for our Ubuntu instance. So we have successfully completed step 1, and we will continue with step 2 to install and configure Apache Web Server and PHP. Before we install our Apache server, we are going to install a web browser. So we are going to install Firefox as our web browser. To install Firefox, we will simply do sudo apt-get install Firefox and press enter. Let's just wait for it to be installed. Welcome back. Our Firefox browser has been successfully installed. However, as you can see, we are facing an error opening it. To fix this error, just simply enter these commands into your graphical user interface terminal. And we now open Firefox. It should successfully open. There you go. Welcome back. Now we will be installing the Apache Web Server, and after installing it, we will configure some firewall settings to allow incoming traffic into ports 80 and 443, which corresponds to HTTP and HTTPS ports. Okay, let's continue. We will do the command sudo apt install apache 2. May take a few minutes. After successfully installing our Apache 2 server, we can check it through sudo systemctl status apache 2 and simply press enter. There we go. As you can see, our Apache 2 server is active and running. We can also check if our web server is running on our graphical user interface. Simply enter the IP address 127.0.0.1, and this is basically our Ubuntu instance localhost, and this will open the default web page. So yes, we can confirm that our web server is successfully installed and running. Next, we are going to configure the firewall of this Ubuntu instance. After configuring that, we will able to get access to our websites from any web browser. So first, we can view the application profiles that we have using. So first, we can view the application profiles that we have using this command, and as you can see, we have some profiles here. We will be changing the rules of Apache full, so here we will do sudo ufw allow in Apache full. Okay, now we're going to check which ports are being listened on, and for that we are going to need this tool. And finally, we are going to use this command to check the ports that are being listened on. As you can see, we are currently listening on to port 80, which is HTTP, and we have to allow HTTPS as well. For that, we will have to use this command. And now it says we have to restart our Apache server. So we will restart using sudo systemctl restart apache 2. And there we go. Now we can again check which ports are being listened. As you can see, we have port 80 and port 443 as well. Now the final command is to change the firewall settings. As you can see, we are adding ports 80 and 443 to the IP tables. Press enter. Okay, now we can check the web browser on our local machine. We will enter the public IP address of our instance and press enter. And there we go. So we have successfully enabled our Apache 2 server. We have configured and allowed internet access to it. All we have to do now is create our static web page, replace the file in the directory shown. Switching back to our PuTTY, we have to install PHP in order to add our own web page. Enter this command to install it. Press Y to continue. May take a few minutes or seconds. Next, we are going to navigate to our HTML folder located in this directory. And if we do ls, we can see that index.html, which is the default page, is shown, which we don't want to show. We want to show our Hello Cloud web page. So first we will move this index.html to a backup. And now we can create a new index.html, which will serve as our web page. Now I will simply copy and paste my HTML code here, and to save it, simply do Ctrl and O, then enter. To exit, enter Ctrl and X, and done. So now if we switch to our web browser, you will see the Hello Cloud web page is in action. On our web browser, as you can see, it's still showing our default web page. That's because I haven't refreshed the browser. So now we will be able to view our static web page on the local machine web browser, and there you go. So after following all those steps, we have successfully deployed our web page on our cloud. Thank you for watching.